Hello and welcome to the demo portion of the Career Tech Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Roten, and on this demo today, I continue my discussion with Larry Kitts and Peter Medina from Jobtip. In order to hear the first part of our conversation, you'll need to head on over to iTunes, Google Play, or wherever it is that you listen to your podcasts. Once there, search for and subscribe to the Career Tech Podcast. And once you do, you'll be all set to listen to the first part of my conversation with Larry and Peter about Jobtip. Jobtip is a leader in social media recruiting. Like a business brand whose ads appear in your social media news feeds, Jobtip serves up very targeted ads for open job positions directly into your newsfeed. They do this by using artificial intelligence and some proprietary algorithms in order to scan the web to look for online profiles that match the requirements of the position. What this means is if your online profile matches the requirements of any open position, there's a very good chance that those ads might just show up in your social media newsfeed. I think this is a very cool way for you to be able to discover potential opportunities for your career that you may not have come across otherwise. So with that, let's get to the second part of my interview with Larry and Peter so you can see how Jobtip works and what you need to do to your online profile in order to ensure that you get one of their job ads served up to you.
Thank you for joining us. Jobtip Social Recruiting. We do social media recruitment campaigns targeted to your specific demographic. Our company has a history of internet recruiting. We started back with the first online job board in Europe, and we've moved to the attracting passive candidates with our targeted social media recruitment tool. Let me show you how that works. Our key differentiator is our ability to target whatever group you're looking for. So we can get as granular as you want in terms of what demographic you're searching for, like a Boolean search on LinkedIn. So we can generate your demographic via geography, educational level, current employer, whatever pieces that you want to add for our targeting. And then what we do is we share that specific targeting group, a recruitment campaign across typically the 4 social media platforms listed here: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. But we have the capability of showing it on Pinterest, Reddit, GitHub, other channels as well. And let me walk you through. This is what our ads look like. We gear everything.
It's funny. It's funny since the last time you and I talked, Larry, I see your ads all the time now.
Do you really?
It's working.
Yeah, we got a lot of
your retargeting is working.
Absolutely. And I'll let you take over on the live ad. So our ads are geared towards the mobile device because 80% of the population engages on social media via their mobile device. So we do all high quality center newsfeed ads across the 4 channels. This is what the ads would look like on a mobile, on a tablet, on a laptop, in a desktop computer as well. These are clients of ours in Europe: Red Bull, Audi. We do not only do we do the advertisements, but it's a 2-stage process. We have the ads that come over the center news feed, and then we have a job branding, what we call our landing page. And I'll show you what that looks like. But we customize this for every social media recruitment campaign that we do. And this would be part of our job branding, and it is part of our fee structure. So you do not have to pay extra for this. We also have a referral reward system built in as well. And I'll let Peter kind of walk you through the live ad and how those components work.
Yeah, before we do that, let me ask one question. Just to remarketing, retargeting, it's one of those words, terms you hear all the time. We have all experienced it. We just may not know that's what we're experiencing. So can you just briefly explain to the folks who are watching who may not know, so let's assume everybody doesn't know, when we talk about remarketing or retargeting, what are we actually talking about?
I'll let Peter handle that one.
Yeah, so what we do is when you get served an ad from Facebook or Instagram, any of the channels, we don't actually have the ability to retarget you. But once you've clicked through the ad, so this ad, for example, is an ad. And let's say you click through this ad and you jump onto our landing page, right? So this is our workflow. We serve you targeted ads, and then we bring you onto landing pages where you engage and know about your position and apply. Once you're on this page for a given amount of time, let's just call it 90 seconds, we put a cookie in your browser. And so at any point in time, up to 6 months later, we can go back and if an employer wants, and remind people that didn't apply to go back and apply for the position. And we do that through the entire Google experience. So it's through your browser, it's through websites you're seeing. That's how we do it.
Okay, and a cookie, for those who may not know, is not we're not talking about an actual cookie. It's a snippet or a piece of code that uniquely identifies you as you when you visit this website, correct?
Correct. And those folks that get the cookie are already targeted by us. Our system have already been pre-qualified as meeting the job title. So, it's when you go back and you do retargeting, it's that exact same population that you're already working with.
Okay, quick question on that. You mentioned job title. There are, at different companies, job titles mean different things, right? So, for example, business development manager right here, that could be one thing at this company, but that could mean something else at a different company. How do you rationalize those differences, or does that show up more in the actual job description?
That shows up more in the job description. I mean, I think that's much more general, but really that's where the power of somebody self-qualifying comes in, right? So, if we were dealing with a system where we had 10 people we showed the job to, then that'd be a very big concern, because how do you know those 10 people are exactly fitting that title? But, we're going out in front of 20,000 people for a particular job in a particular region. Okay. So it comes down to a lot of self-qualifying, which is great, because if somebody says, oh, business development for equipment leasing, I've never done equipment leasing, I should not be applying for that position. And that's where kind of the power of that comes into it.
Okay, cool. All right, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, do you want to walk through the landing?
Yeah, so on this landing page, for instance, and once somebody has clicked through the ad, right, what they can do is they'll some of our kind of benchmark metrics here is we show the candidates, these 4 basic tabs to kind of answer their fundamental questions. Where is it located? What are the benefits that I'm going to get out of this? And then once they do that, they can go down and read into the specifics of the position.
And who writes this job description? Is this just being handed to you by the employer?
No, well, the job descriptions or the requisition, typically, yes, are handed to us by the employer. But Jobtip does everything else. So we build all the ads, we build all the landing pages. All the employers have to do is give us the requisition. So, there's no need for an employer to feel like, oh my God, I don't have a fancy marketing team. Because let's say you're a company of 10 people, right? Or 5 people. We can still build this entire campaign for you to make you look like something that will allow you to compete for the talent that a $1 billion company typically would get, where, Larry and I deal with talent acquisition teams that have 200 people in them. Mm-hmm. 200 people. I mean, that's a lot of people to have to compete with if you're, a small real estate broker in that city and you're trying to compete against, a big, multi-state publicly traded corporation. So we're kind of here to also level that playing field. And that's one of the visions of our founders, is to also be able to allow new and upcoming companies to compete for talent. Because let's say you're going up against Apple and trying to hire a software engineer, it's going to be very hard to communicate your brand if you're in the first year of a 50-year plan,
Right. Yeah, totally. I get that completely.
So once somebody drops on the landing page, they'll see the specifics of the position. For this company, these guys were actually very, very smart in that they put in actual employee testimonials. These employees actually work at this company. So we got very good engagement. And so Jobtip's not going to be able to create magic. Okay, we can't do that. If all you say is, here's a rec, I got nothing else to tell you. I don't know what kind of sports teams our potential employees like. I don't know who our competitors are. It's probably going to yield a lukewarm result. But if you tell us very specific pieces of information about your business, like, hey, our chief competitor is XYZ Plumbing across town.
Yeah.
that's going to be very helpful for us. Or if you tell us, hey, our typical employees love March Madness, that's going to be very helpful for us as well. So some of the very soft, variables out there, believe it or not, are very helpful for us.
Okay. Cool. So, I mean, this is much better than, okay, I'm looking for a job. I have to go to Indeed or Monster or the company's website, and I click a link and I just get a one-page, really boring text file, basically. This is much more professional looking. I actually like it a lot. And you have the ability to do things on this that you can't obviously do on what I just described, which is, put testimonials and things like that in it.
Well, right. And then we have clients that are developing, their internal employer branding using video technology, all kinds of, and we've seen the virtual reality come into play now.
Oh, wow.
We're going to tie that into the landing page. So once they come in there, they can see, they can see the video, they can see the employer branding, they can see, I think we're going to get to the point pretty soon here, Ryan, where we're going to be able to drop a virtual reality piece in there so people can they can see what it's like to go into their office, go into a conference, and really be a part of the organization. We're not quite there yet, but I think we'll be there, in the near future.
That's pretty cool. That's very cool, actually. Okay, so if I'm a candidate and I am interested, I obviously need to fill out my name, my email address.
Yep.
I'm going to verify that this is me on LinkedIn. So this is why it gets back to what you said earlier during the podcast portion of this discussion, was that you got to have a picture in there. Otherwise, if you just have a blank silhouette, how are you going to actually know that that's you?
It actually happens a lot, Ryan, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah?
Without a picture, it's not as engaging, and that does matter. So you don't have to go get a perfect headshot, but have something.
Yeah. Yeah, I see blank pictures a lot, actually, as well. So, okay, so I'm interested. I put in this stuff, and then I click next. What happens from a potential employee standpoint? What do I see next?
What happens is, let's say you stopped here because you were in line at the grocery store, right?
Yeah.
And you said, oh, I saw this page. I saw the ad. I don't need to do anymore. What will happen is the employer or Jobtip has already actually captured the candidate, and we're already going to be forwarding that information on to the employer.
Okay.
So all you need is, if you have a LinkedIn, so this goes to your question earlier in the podcast. What should you have? Well, if you have a LinkedIn profile, even as basic as it is, if it knows that it exists, all you need to do is put in your first and your last name, and we're already capturing you.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
our system is built such that we want to make it easy for people to apply, because when you get on, you ever apply for a position and there's 60 fields they want you to fill out?
Yeah. Yeah.
People just start to go, when am I going to have the time to do this for one application?
Right.
And people are playing the numbers game. So you need to make it easy for folks. Now, let's say you didn't complete the whole process by uploading your resume. Our system goes back and emails the candidate, hey, remember that job you put your name in for? Would you like to upload your resume? So our system is built to be able to continue all those touch points.
Okay. All right, cool. So there is a way then somewhere in here for me to, if I'm interested and want to keep going, for me to upload my resume.
Sure. Yeah, you can fill out. We have a customizable full app you can do as well.
Oh, okay.
Periods, willing to travel, whatever components you want to put there, and then you can drag and drop in any documents you want, resume, cover letter, whatever. So we do have the capability to do the full app. Again, like Peter referenced, so our goal is to attract and get as many applicants as possible. And going after those passive candidates, we're trying to capture those without having a laborious, application process.
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier you have a better click-through percentage than what is normally seen in the industry. I don't think we mentioned specifics at that time, and if we did, let's go ahead and repeat them now. If I'm an employer and I use your service, what are you typically seeing right now from a click-through rate, using your platform versus maybe what you see in the industry?
Yeah, so our click-through rate at this point, we haven't actually seen anything lower than 2%, but we like to give, kind of the lowball estimates of 1.8, between 1.8 and 2.7%. But I'd say we've been averaging at least 2.25% click-through rate.
Wow.
with the industry average being 0.4. Now, we also
0.4. So not even 0.5%.
Yep.
no, and we have to qualify that a little bit further too, by the way, because we only count a click if they've actually gone and sat on the landing page for 90 seconds.
Mm.
So it means they actually read the copy, they read the job, they read through it, and so they had that level of engagement.
Wow. Yeah, that's very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, so that's what we look like from an employee passive candidate standpoint. What do the actual employers see when they start to get involved with this process?
Okay. Do you want to show stats? We'll go through the stats.
Yeah, sure.
Pull that up real quick.
So the employer will actually, as these candidates come in live, because our campaigns run for 3 weeks, as these candidates come in live, the employee will actually get, or the employer will start to get resumes. So the employers will see the profiles of the candidates come in real time over the course of 3 weeks. We get candidates as early as 24 hours sometimes, but most of them will engage and apply somewhere around the second or third week, and that really just follows basic marketing principles, right? So for us, we've been doing this since 2012. So when we say AI, it's not this like trendy little word that we use. I mean, in 2012, our AI was probably not very great, but we've done 12,000 plus campaigns to date, and all over the world, actually. And so our AI has gotten smart since 2012. And so it's made the decision to, when it makes the decision to say, show it to this guy, but not this guy, it's pretty robust. And so like one of the things that we provide to the employers are the candidates. In today's world, when somebody applies when an employer puts a job out, they'll get a few hundred candidates, right? Mm-hmm. There's only probably like 2 or 3 that they're willing to talk to. So they spend a lot of their time sifting through the volume. And so, it's very laborious for them as well. If you look at the statistics, and I'm only going to use Facebook as an example here in this position, because for this campaign, I just want to show the whole thing. Facebook is one channel that we go out on. Okay. Instagram is a second channel that this campaign went out on. This is a campaign that actually went out, by the way. This is LinkedIn, and then it also went out on Twitter. Now, employers can tell us, hey, I'm already spending money on LinkedIn. Please don't run it on LinkedIn. Go ahead and just send it all on Facebook. We can do that. Or if it's a job that has a very specific channel, like, hey, can you put this on Stack Overflow instead? We will run it there as well. But let's use LinkedIn. Let's use Facebook as an example here, okay? Our system identified 11,454 potential candidates that met the targeting metrics. We then take the position and we show it to them 5 to 6 times. That's what our number says right now. 5 years from now, it may be 10 times. Maybe it goes lower. Maybe it goes 4 times for engagement. We don't know. But currently, our sweet spot is somewhere around 5 to 6 times. So that's how you get this impression count of 58,000, right? You just divide this number by the number of candidates. And then this is also a metric that we use now to tell us whether or not the landing page is any good or if the ads are any good.
Okay.
We use these statistics to measure it. Out of those 11,000 potential candidates, we had 1,500 unique click-throughs. You don't want 1,500 applicants. I don't know who does, because no. You're going to get through them. And so we are in a way playing the numbers game. So 1,500 people just from Facebook went to that landing page, read the job requirements. So imagine the amount of marketing that's doing for any company right now, right? You had 1,500 people know that you're hiring for that position.
Well, these are targeted people too. I think that's important to point out.
Yeah, these are targeted people. Out of those 1,500 that went to the landing page, okay, we had 13 applicants.
Okay. That's the self-selection you were talking about earlier.
That is a self-selection. But the key here is these 13 people, one applied on mobile. So if you don't have a good mobile platform as an employer today, you wouldn't have even ever seen these people. These people were at their kids' baseball game, in between shifts.
Right.
But 13 is a very far number from 1,500 on one channel. So we do play a numbers game. It is marketing. But one thing that, I can be confident in telling you is that these 13 people are 13 people you want to interview.
Yeah.
And so we're cutting a lot of that busy work out for the recruiters. And so if we go down and look at the numbers, right? 11,000 potential candidates on Facebook. Another 6,000, what is that? Let's just round off to 18,000 people. 18,000. LinkedIn, their API doesn't provide us the kind of number that we want, but there's another, 6,000 on LinkedIn. So we've already hit 23,000. Please don't get me on math. I'm doing it off.
It's okay.
23,000. There's probably another 5,000 on Twitter. So we got this in front of 28,000 people, 28,000 nurses, okay, in this particular spot. So out of 28,000 of them, to get 13 that are relevant, that's a very good thing.
Right.
That's a very good thing. And so there is a lot of that self-qualifying that goes in, whereas the typical model is you mine the ATS, find the 5 people, and then recruiter has to go do the qualifying.
Well, and the cool thing about this that I think is that you're actually serving up ads to people where they are located, where they live, where they reside. You're not passively, if you will, putting it up on your website and hoping that somebody comes and sees them. You're actually putting them in front of people that could potentially be looking for a job right now.
Well, you're not shotgunning is the really good point, which is a big mistake that a lot of employers make. I mean, on my personal Reddit feed, I get HVAC ads all day long. Not because I'm an HVAC guy, but because I subscribe to, I think, some subreddit because I was trying to fix my air conditioning over the summer. But that's a really bad case of damaging employer brand.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing just to keep in mind, a number of these candidates are seeing it across multiple platforms, right? So if they're on LinkedIn and they're on Facebook, some of these people, those numbers it's the same individual, just on different different channels.
Sure, but I mean, what do they say today? In order for people to become aware of you, which I think is probably exactly the same of a company, you have to see something, 5 to 7 times.
Yeah.
Before it kind of starts to click with you, if you will. And so by serving it up the same ad on multiple platforms, that just helps people go, oh, you know what? I've seen this a few times. Maybe I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, I always kind of laugh when people think they made that decision to buy the Monster Energy drink at the convenience store. There's a lot of steps in the process before they got to that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and one other piece I will just add here. So these are direct applicants through our system. And you probably know, Ryan, a lot of people are going to see this and they're going to go out to Helix or whatever end client's website and do research on their own. So we see a number of applicants that come in and we call that conversion lift. So they're getting not only the direct applicants through our system, but they're getting the conversion lift on their own career page where they may have had more than double that applied through their own career page as well, based on our ad campaign.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So if I'm an employer and I'm interested in this, when I'm writing, say, a job ad, are there any, or a job description, are there any, from your standpoint, any best practices that they should make sure that they use when they create that job description?
Keep it short and sweet, I think, nowadays, because Larry and I see a lot of wall of bullets is what we call it, where like every skill is like a bullet point and people just zone out. They will zone out. And honestly, like, it's defensible. It's okay. That's what you're looking for. But if we were looking at the statistics halfway through a campaign and we go, okay, our system's identified 12,000 people. There's 300 clicks and 0 applicants. There's got to be something wrong with the job description, the logo, the title. You're not sharing something that's getting people to love your brand or engage with the position. So we actually see that, and we'll tell the clients, hey, we need to do something right now. Otherwise, your money's going to go to waste.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So I think, first of all, thank you very much for the demo. I think, these are obviously impressive results. I think the whole thing is very cool. I like the fact that It does two. This is my take, right? It does a few things for you. One, you're out getting passive candidates based on their online profiles, and which to me is like, that's just the way we're moving. Everything is going online for us. And doing so, by looking that way, companies are better able to now target people who could potentially be very good fits for their company, as opposed to, as you said earlier, the shotgun approach before, which is, let's just put out an ad and see who comes to visit us. Because I'm sure they were getting a lot of people who were coming through that weren't qualified for roles. So I think it's really cool. Anything else you'd like to share with us before we wrap up the demo here?
No, we just like to share the demo with anybody that's interested, so they can truly get an understanding of how it works and how we can help their talent acquisition and recruiting team. Peter?
Okay, and if they'd like to participate in a demo, how do they do that?
Just, I'd say go on our website and request a demo, or they can email anybody directly at, is it info@jobtip.com? I have so many emails.
Go to www.jobtip.com and they can do a demo right there. They can request a demo on the website.
Awesome. Well, Larry and Peter, thank you very much for your time today. Certainly appreciate it. Wish you guys the best of luck with Jobtip. And if there's anybody interested in following up, head to jobtip.com.